Hello and welcome to day 7 of the challenge. I've just been away for a few days, so I played a little bit on my iPad, which is a screenshot on Twitter. A really good app, really easy to use. You can only play one table though. So I was looking forward to being back, get playing again. So it's been 6 days and we're currently on €125 plus about €57 with the money on the tables. So we're doing well to say we need to get to £1,000 from zero. As you can see here, I need to see a flop. I need to see a flop every 7 days to keep the cash game ticket alive. So I've just seen the flop now, but I just need to make sure they didn't expire. I've also still got 3 welcome free roll tickets to use, which I think run every Sunday. And I've got a new February challenge, which I should be able to complete fairly easily and get a €1 sit and go ticket for that, which is pretty decent. Also doing pretty well on my bonus. Unlock the €1, 12.8% away from the €4, which is decent. So if you want to sign up to UniBet, I recommend it. It's quite a new, up-and-coming site. Really good features, really easy to use. You also get £10 or €10, depending on where you are situated, free to play with on the tables, which you don't have to put any card details in. You just sign up with your name and a few other basic details, and you get this free ticket, which I've started to use, and I'm now currently nearly on €200. So that's that. So if you want to join up, make sure you click the link in the description to sign up to that website. So we're going to get on with the cash game session. Just going to stay with NL4 at the moment. Probably got an okay bankroll to start playing NL10, but I want to unlock this cash ticket to turn it into real money, and I have to play 750 flops, and I've currently seen 424 flops. So once that's unlocked, I think we'll start to look to move up to NL10. But I'm fairly comfortable at NL4 at the moment. As I've said in previous videos, I'm playing very ABC, very basic, more aiming just not to lose and hoping that other players will make bad decisions, which will enable us to make profit. So not going to go out there and try and outplay anyone particularly. I think it's probably the best tactic for this sort of level. So for those of you who have been following along with the challenge, if you tweet me or leave a comment to let me know how you're doing with the challenge, that'd be great. As I've said before, I don't think it's too difficult to complete this challenge if you just have the right attitude. Not try and rush everything. I've been playing about an hour a day, apart from when I won the tournament. So I'm not rushing this, taking it very slowly. I think my mistakes have been previously is to try and play too many hours and be playing bad and playing at too high levels. So if you just stick to lower levels, it's really easy. It's a mistake I made when I started. Trying to rush through the levels. So yeah, just playing 4 tables at the moment. I think that's a comfortable amount for me. I can play more, but 4s, it makes it easy for me to talk through my decisions, make sure I'm making the best decisions. But hopefully it gives you enough action to watch. Enough action, enough decisions. As you can see, Ace King, I'm just going to raise that up. Standard 3x raise. With Ace King here, I'm going to go probably 4x, maybe a bit more, because this guy's limped. I'm also out of position. Now another limper, so I'm going to go to at least 20, probably go to 22. Okay, so this guy's raised, and I'm just going to call him. Ace King's a strong enough hand, but I don't want to 4-bet because I'm probably looking to get it in only if I'm behind. So I'm just going to call. It's a fairly easy call though. Here I'm just going to bet out solidly down the streets, look to get the money in as soon as possible. Could have probably got a bit bigger then actually. That was quite a small bet. But the money's nearly all in anyway, and he's got Ace-10. So I'm just going to fold here. Don't need to, when someone raises in this level, unless he's done it a few times and he looks like he's quite fishy, he's generally got a decent hand, so he could easily have an overpair there. So yeah, this one basically I was just playing my hand strongly, betting it big, betting it down the streets, looking to get it in as soon as possible, and hoping he just turn. A lot of times they'll turn up with a worse hand there. I had top two pair. Ace-10 obviously a fairly tough hand to fold, I suppose there, but limping in with it made the decision harder for him, I think. So as you can see, other people's mistakes, it's easy to profit from. You don't have to go out there and play, the most incredible poker around. Okay, so this guy's raised, and I've 3-bet him on the button, which I think he can 3-bet or call. Doesn't matter either way. And he's gone to 4-bet me, and he's 4-bet huge. So it's basically either all in or fold here. King Queen is just not strong enough to go all in here with, I don't think. Even if he'd doing it with random 2 cards, I'm not miles ahead. And a lot of the time, that sort of player will be doing it with Ace King. Raise pre, that's standard, and then suddenly wants to get all the money in. Something like an Ace King, maybe Pocket Jacks type hand. And I just don't want to be racing at this stage. You're going to make things hard for yourself if you're always wanting to just race and get the money in, because there's going to be much larger swings. And it's not necessary to take those risks and swings at this level. Pocket 9's in the big blind. Probably can call or raise this depending on the action. Eight-7 I could play. Let's have a look. So we've got a limper. I'm just going to fold that. You could also raise that. It doesn't make a difference. Okay, so we've got a min raise on the button. I'm just going to raise this up. That's because it's easy for him to do this with a wide range here. So I want to put pressure on him. Don't want to make him have an easy C-bet and take it down, or put myself in an awkward position. If he just, if the board comes maybe 2, 3, 10, then I'm not sure he could have a 10. He could have any hand there. So by raising, I just make the decisions a bit easier. Likely that he folds there, and if he calls, it's probably still 50-50, or I've got a good chance of winning the hand. Okay, so this guy goes to 12, and I'm just going to go to 34. I think that's about right sizing. I've got aces. I'm just going to basically, like I've said before, raise big, bet big down the streets, look to get it all in. Obviously, unless a really scary board comes down, but in general, that's what I'm looking to do. Don't want to try and play it too cleverly, unless I have a specific reason to. So thanks all for watching. If you do like it, make sure you click the like button, and if you want to see more, click the subscribe button. It just means that you get notified whenever a new video is made, which should be daily. If you don't like it, then leave a comment to why. If you think I played something badly, or you prefer to see more tables, or something different, let me know, and I'll see if I can try and do that as well. So yeah, 10-7 I'm not interested in getting involved with. Do have the flush draw. I did have the flush draw on the turn, but it's only a 7 high flush draw. So I'm not too bothered about trying to steal it there, especially as it's such a small pot. fives is obviously just a standard raise to 3x. Betting most flops, but probably giving up unless I hit my 5. Betting it fairly big there, just over 3/4 and take it down. So yeah, I've said in previous videos, but a lot of the time you can just raise it up pre, get a call and standard C bet, and take it away from them. Because this guy just has to get it in with Jack 9 and hits, does he not? No, misses. So that was a strange way to play it. Just have a quick look at that hand. I just missed it. Okay, so this guy raises up. I'm just going to go to 16. So yeah, this is a bit of an awkward flop. There is no overcard. So he could have a 9 quite easily. I'm just going to bet it quite big. Less likely now he's got the 9, but I'm still not interested in betting again. Don't think there's much value to be got. Maybe if he had a flush draw, but I don't want to really bloat the pot too much here with the 9. The ace comes and I'm just happy to check, probably call it down. It's hard for him to have an ace there, very hard for him to have a 9. He probably likely has a flush draw. Okay, so yeah, on that hand he had 7-5, which was sort of middle pair, I think, on the flop. So maybe we could have got one more street of value out of him, but sometimes it's hard to get value because you just bloat the pot for yourself and you make decisions hard because you start putting so much money in the pot that when they raise, you almost tempt yourself into calling, thinking you've got the odds when you're probably likely to be behind. So yeah, I don't mind checking there. Maybe I could have bet small on the river, tried to get a bit of value out of like a 5 or a 4, or a worst pair, but the check's fine as well. Probably bet fold would be better than check call there, so maybe I missed the river of value, but he might just fold anyway, so not too worried there. But it is always worth, especially as you're moving up levels, to try and re-look at your hands, rethink about your hands, and see if that's the absolute best way you can play them. Because it's sometimes you think that looks okay, but that you're missing small bits of value which can add up in the long run. Okay, so this guy bets out 18, and I'm just going to get this in here, I think. I've got top pair, decent kicker, and this guy's short stacked. Not really impressed with that turn card. I think he's got a straight here, but I'm priced into call. Okay, he doesn't have a straight draw, he has the pocket 8. So I think that's another example there. I've got hit top pair and a pretty dry board with a decent kicker. Not the ace, I would have probably wanted the ace. I preferred the ace, but King's the second best kicker, high card kicker anyway. So just raise big, get it in, and a lot of times people will happily get it in with worse. So I think we've played a decent session as well here already today. We're about €4 up or something. And as you can see, I haven't done anything too outrageous or different. Basically just been playing ABC, not making any mistakes, not playing hands which I don't need to. Just playing the basic hands well. Pocket 8 here is definitely a raise. It's worth pointing out to more new players as well. Should never really be a time when you should limp, and limping is just putting 4 cents or the big blind. We should always be looking to raise, obviously, or call if someone else has raised behind us. So that's something to note for new players, because a lot of people do it at this level, and it's just not you. If you think the hand's playable, raise it up, and if you don't think it's playable, just fold it. Don't get caught in this in two minds and start calling, just to try and see a flop. The reason why is we want to raise to give us the aggression. When we limp, we look very weak. Also builds a pot for if we do hit our hand. So yeah. There are a few occasions in tournaments where we might limp if we're very shallow, or if we're playing, maybe if we're playing a satellite, we might limp because we don't want to start trying to get the money all in. Because we could get, but when we could just bust. When in satellites, obviously, you don't need to win the thing; you just need to finish in the top however many to get a seat. So there are a few times, but I'd say 99.9% of the time we're never limping. We shouldn't be limping. Probably even 99.99%, because it's just not a very good thing to do. Even a min raise is better than a limp. So as you can see, I'm just playing the top end of my range, really. Seems to be working well for me so far. Obviously, playing more aggressive in a few more hands is probably still profitable, but it just makes the variance a bit greater, I think. Obviously played 7-9 there, which is debatable, but it's okay, I think. Here I just checked with tens. Could have bet the flop, but I thought check was better. A lot of the time I don't get called by worse, so I'm just putting in money into the pot, which I'm going to be losing. I'm happy to check with Queen 9 there. You could raise and put pressure. Here I'm happy to go to 20. Around 20 is fine. I'd usually go to 12 plus 2 limpers makes it 20. Obviously, depending on the table and the players you're against and how the session's gone, you can change that size. You might want to go a bit bigger or smaller, but I think 20 is the standard. Adding on a big blind for each limper there is in the pot or in the hand. So another point I might like to raise, which is kind of a strange point and off poker, but make sure that when you are playing, you've eaten and you've got a drink with you, maybe a few snacks. I'm currently got a few snacks. Just like a sports player would need. Just make sure it keeps the brain working. Similar with enough sleep. You don't want to be tired when you're playing. It's just going to lead to worse sessions. I want to try and minimise the number of bad sessions we're playing, and do that by a lot of factors off the table, like exercise, eating well, sleeping well, which is all going to help. And it's not saying that it's going to make you it's not going to improve your poker skills, but in terms of how you play poker, how well you play, if you play your best game or your worst game, it's going to have an impact on that. It's just something that's worth noting. Similar. So it's the same as if you have got other things to be doing. Best to do them first, then play second. Things on your mind and things like that is always going to lead to worse sessions, I think. Obviously, this is just my opinion. I'm not sure if it's scientifically proven, but it's definitely something that I've noticed, that I have my best sessions when I'm feeling my best, my worst sessions when I'm not feeling my best. So Queen Jack's fine to just raise there from under the gun. Pretty standard. ABC. When I say ABC, for those of you who don't know, it basically just means the sort of textbook way to play. Nothing, you know, might not win at the high levels, but at these levels it definitely will. Just basically trying to minimise the mistakes rather than trying to outplay them. Outplay your opponents. I think it also, for me, it keeps tilt levels lower. So I've got an interesting spot here. I usually like a call, but I think I'm I'm tempted to raise here. I'm going to just raise it because I think a lot of the time there's enough money in the pot to get it in, even if I'm slightly behind or we're flipping with this extra 20 cents. You could also call, but I didn't really want a three-way pot with ace king. So yeah, I was flipping. I do hit my hand, which is lucky. Continue the run good. Yeah, maybe I should have called there. It's debatable, but the reason for the raise was because he was short stacked. If he had a larger stack, I wouldn't have gone all in there. But he had quite a short stack. There was his 20 cents, his 20, also an additional his 20. So even if I was flipping, it was plus EV for me to do that. Although a lot of the time I will be flipping there when he sort of min raise clicks it back, because that usually represents a strong hand. So it was debatable. I wouldn't say it was the worst decision, but thinking back now, I did know that he was going to have a strong hand, so it might have been best just to call and see what the flop brings, see what his actions are on the flop, rather than giving the opportunity to just get it in, which as soon as I raise, I do. I'm basically saying I'm all in. So I don't get any more information on him. Again, the ace king just going to bet it big there. He's short stacked, looking to get in really on turn off, or the river at least, or have only a little bit left of the river. Maybe could have gone a bit smaller, but I don't want to allow players at this level to call me and hit their hands. Don't want to price them in at all. So about €7 up so far. So decent session. Definitely be looking to move up to NL10 fairly soonish. Especially when I've unlocked this bonus, I think I'll move up. But I might stay at NL4. We'll see how it goes. Definitely important not to rush up, like I've mentioned before, because that can, I'm feeling confident at this level at the moment. Don't just change things for the sake of it. Just because you're playing a high level doesn't mean your win rate and your profits are going to be higher. When you're incurring tougher players, even if I was playing a high level, I'd need I need to keep the same win rate to be making more money. If I had a lower win rate, I'm going to be making similar amount of money, and it's sometimes probably not worth that. So make sure you are confident in your play before you move up. And if you do feel like you're getting beaten at the high level, then make sure you move down as quick as possible to ensure the least damage to your bankroll. I'm pretty confident I can beat NL10 though, but obviously I'm trying to play this through a new player's eyes and talk about in general rather than my specific scenario. So King Jack obviously is raising. I say obviously, but I spoke about playing ABC, and two picture cards like that is definitely a raise. Standard C-bet again takes it down. Folding hands like Jack 7, Queen 6 I've automatically folded. 9-3 under the gut. I mean, it's in the small blind, just folding. So for those of you who watched sort of the previous 6 days and are watching today and following along, you can see it, as you can see, it is quite, you can see why poker players do call it a grind. I mean, I'm enjoying myself at the moment, but when you're trying to play the best you can, that's not always the most exciting way. So it can get fairly repetitive, and that's why there are other factors that come into it when you're playing, like making sure you're trying to play your best every time. Even if you play, playing an hour of your best is better than playing 2 hours of average. It's just going to make it much easier for yourself. So sometimes it's hard to play for long hours. That's why it's best to take breaks. Obviously, sometimes you can play for hours. It just depends on your personality. King Queen I've just raised. Again, 2 limpers, so I've added on the sort of what players call the limper tax. Because there's 2 players in the pot, I probably might check this. He's just dunked out, so I think I'll fold. There's 2 players in the pot. I could bet at this, but a lot of the time they have something and it's quite a wet flop, so they could have draws, there's lots of draws, but the flush draw is a straight draw. Jack comes, if this gets checked round again I might bet, but as I thought, somebody bets out and bets really big, so that would suggest they have something maybe like a 6-5 or something they now suddenly want to protect. Or maybe they've just hit the flush draw. It would be strange to bet that big. I mean, there's no way I can really do much apart from fold here. It doesn't look like they're going to fold if I raise. Can't bluff it, and I don't. I'm pretty sure I'm behind here. Don't have many outs on the river either, just the king or the queen, which might not even be good. So that's reverse implied odds, which is terrible. So yeah, just making sure you don't give away money in those sort of spots with king queen where it'd be quite easy to bet the flop, and it wouldn't be a terrible thing to do, but it's easy to give away money that way, which really, if you think about it and take a couple of seconds to think about and look at the other players who are in the pot, it's easier to come to a conclusion that just checking and not betting that sort of flop is the best play. So we do bet 2 streets, and he could have a straight draw with this river, but it'd be quite a strange thing to have. I'm just going to go pot here. I think if he's got a king, I'm just going to go 1 under pot. He's probably got a call. If he raises here, I'm probably folding, but I might call him off. I could also check that river. It wouldn't be terrible to check, but I think with anything really strong, he'd have raised before the river. For example, things like pocket 4s, pocket 8s, pocket 9s. He'd have probably raised before the river, and if he's hit the straight on the river, it's a backdoor straight, so it'd be very hard for him to call on the flop, and it's just very hard for him to have that hand. So I think I'm probably good most of the time there, even if he does raise. Obviously, it's a hard decision if he does, but I think I'm prepared to take the risk of having to have that decision to get that last bit of value out by doing a pot size bet. And I think he's probably got a king of some sort, and he probably had to call that. Interesting to see. So yeah, hands like 9-10 suited, you can raise there. Either way, it's not terrible, but for the time being, I'm just going to keep it very basic. So yeah, I'm not going to try and steal this. It's the 7 cents in the pot. I'm really not too bothered about this. If I hit now, yeah, I was good anyway. Sometimes I'm just not, there's no point in trying to bet and steal for these amounts. So I get ace on the button, which is nice. Unfortunately, there's only one other person to the right of me. He does limp, which is okay, I guess. Just going to add the limp attacks on of 4 cents, like we said before. Probably going to call this, isn't he? A lot of people like to limp and call. Unfortunately, it doesn't for us. But as I've said before, don't try and play aces any differently. One, it makes it obvious. If you start playing strong hands in a different way to all your other hands, and also it gives him a chance to, aces aren't unbeatable. It gives him a chance to call with weaker hands and hit, and really put you in nasty spots when he does hit, where you could be all in for all your chips. So yeah, don't try and play things that strangely against these limpy players. And so yeah, ace jack. I'm just looking to hit a flop and get this in really. Quite a tough flop for me. What's he limp with there? That he's probably just gonna check this. I think if he bets and if I bet and he shoves, I have to call, but it's a pretty horrible call. I'm just gonna call this one straight. Okay, so I've raised here, and he easily could have hit this flop, but I'm gonna bet out. I've got a straight draw, backdoor flush draw. Okay, so he now goes and shoves, and that's just an easy fold for me there. Okay, so he does call, and I think he's probably got me beat. Hopefully he'll give me a free card though. He doesn't, and he bets massive, and it's an easy fold for me now. There's no way I've got the odds to call this. I definitely can't bluff him. He's probably got like an ace, something like ace 10 or something, I suspect. But yeah, I think I played that okay. Again, you could call king queen pre-flop there. That wouldn't be a terrible play either. But a raise is also fine, especially when he raises from the button, because he's usually going to be weaker. So yeah, just... Okay, so I'm just trying to look at that the other hand I played, which was with King 9, where I bet, where I bet the pot on the river. He had King 10, so he had King, just a pair of kings with a 10 kicker. Probably did have to call that, but that's why we bet the river. I think it was a good bet to make, because that any king sort of tough for him to fold, and that's why I bet big, because I think he's only calling us there with a king, and I think he calls a big bet with a king. I think he calls anything basically with a king as long as it's not over. I think over pot bets he could find a fold. So I think we played that hand perfectly, which is good. And as you can see from my sessions, I'm sometimes looking at hands back. I mean, you can look at them in session, but also looking back at them after your session is good. A lot of the times people make the mistake of sort of thinking, oh, I played that fine because they thought they played it fine at the time. But when they look back at a hand, they might think, even if it's just, oh, I could have put a bet in on the river, or I could have made a call here, or I shouldn't have called here, or, even if it's something that doesn't seem like got a big impact in the future, in a big impact overall, like an all-in call, or something major, even if it's just something minor, in the long run it could definitely add up. So it's worth looking over your session, and obviously posting on forums, or you can tweet at me and see how you think, see how I think you played it. Ace 2. You can easily raise there. Against a short stacker though, not too fussed about playing it. Maybe could have min raised. But as I said, I'm really just looking to not make a mistake. Okay, so I just turned on playing sense, which... Oh. Okay, so that's an interesting feature, which I've just come across. I don't know if it really matters, but you can turn on playing cents on this website, which means your stack is basically in cent, as it said, it's in cents rather than euros and cents. So for example, here I've got 845 cents, which would be €8.45. So I suppose if you prefer sort of a tournament type esque where it's just your money is worth chips rather than worth actual money, if that makes sense, then you can turn that on. But for me, I probably just prefer the standard style. But that was one of the missions. So look, I'll just do this last mission and I get myself a €1 sit and goes ticket. Okay, his raise really small. I'm in position. I've got a decent hand that can sort of flop well. It can flop straights, flushes, things like that. So I'm definitely calling. Don't really see anything on the flop, which is of any interest to me. He bets small. Well, I thought he probably bets fairly standard, to be honest. I'm just going to give this up. If I've seen maybe another diamond or maybe an 8 as well, so I have an open-ended straight draw, either called or maybe even raised, but on that sort of flop, don't think there's much I can do there. So for my final mission, I've got to visit the challenges history page. So I'm just trying to look. Challenges history. So yeah, I'm just trying to look and see how to do these challenges, because these missions you get are quite good. As it said, they're really easy to do, and you just get given free money. So on top of the 10 when you sign up, you just get these, which are constant basically. So I'm just going to visit the challenges history page. So I've got to go on view profile and hand history, then click on challenges. So view profile, hand history, then click on challenges. So as you can see, I've received a €1 sit and go ticket. So that was really easy, that challenge. Like these challenges, you start from scratch, you get part 1, going through part 2, part 3 every month on here. And the first ones are really easy, and I just get a free euro there. Next one is worth a custom avatar free roll tickets. They're worth different things. Sometimes they're probably not as good prizes, but still really easy to do. So yeah, there's that extra. There's loads of different things to get involved in on this website, which other websites don't give you, which just gives you Bankroll a little boost when you need it and keeps it entertaining with different challenges. So for example, there's a challenges page here, so points balance, which resets every month, on a reset the quarterly, sorry. So complete the challenges and you get a new challenge. So these are some of the challenges over here which have been attempting. So obviously just going to see about this at King Queen. So yeah, you get, by getting these challenges, your rewards, you can build up points by doing these challenges, and you can obviously get to eventually a £2,000 bonus plus your 4,000. So I mean, it's worth going on and having a bit more look in depth yourself with it. But it's definitely something that other sites don't give you that this site does give you. It just makes it nice, a bit easier. So coming to the last bit of the session and last part of the session, sorry, I'm just going to close this table and use my sit and go ticket I've got. So as you can see, I wouldn't go chasing these challenges, but they're just good to build up and have anyway, and have a look at. So yeah, I'm just going to go sit and go. I'm going to play a 5-seater, I think. Use the ticket, which I've got. Tile these tables. Okay. Maybe I should have had to think about that hand a bit more, and maybe could have bluffed him there instead of just calling. So they don't take too long to fill up these tables, which is okay, which is good. There's enough players. So yeah, there's enough of these, enough players on the site for these to fill up quickly, which is good. You don't want to be waiting around ages for these sit and goes. There's always cash games running from all levels up to the up from NL4 to NL400. So these tournaments play pretty similar to these cash games I'm playing, although with these you have to be better at all sort of levels. Obviously your stack size is changing constantly because of the blinds going up, so you're not always playing like a sort of 100 big blind stack or similar to 100. You could be playing, really small stacks, and obviously the number of players changes, so once a player's out, he's out, no one else can join. So you eventually have to go and play heads up. So you have to know how to play sort of 5-handed, 4-handed, 3-handed, 2-handed. Well, 2-handed is heads up to be able to win at these. So it kind of makes it a bit harder, but also makes it harder for the opposition, which means that which sort of means if you're better at all these levels, and someone's only good at say playing 5-handed, then they're going to struggle more when they get down to the low levels, and it's going to allow you to win them more often. Okay, so for my February mission that I was talking about, I have to double up basically like I've done here. So basically reach 200 big blinds from the maximum allowed starting stack. So I have to reach 200 big blinds in Hold'em one day, and then pot limit Omaha the next day. or the other way around. It doesn't really get me with great rewards. I'm not sure whether I'll do this challenge, but it allows me to unlock part 3 of the challenge, which might be a better reward. So as I said in previous videos, I wouldn't go chasing challenges, because at the end of the day, playing and winning is the most profitable thing you can do. These challenges are sort of to tempt you, which sometimes, if that's what you usually do and that's how you usually play, it's just sort of free money. But if you go chasing them, it can often lead to making it hard for yourself. But as it's pot limit Omaha, I could play one table of that and see what happens. But we'll see how I feel tomorrow. And as I've already achieved this one, pot limit Omaha is easier to double up in, because obviously people play more aggressively. Obviously it's easier to lose a stack as well, but we'll see. So yeah, queens I've just raised up and added one for the limp attacks. This flop comes down and I'm just going to bet big. Look to get the money in as soon as possible, really. Yeah, so here I'm just going to raise big again. The limper. Hope hit ace or jack and get it in, really. It sounds really simple, but that's how simple it is really at this level. So I've made about €5 so far, maybe a bit more. Plus we've got €3 sit and go 5-seater, which we could, which is I think about €4 for top prize, maybe a bit less, about €3 maybe, which would be nice to take down. So that'd be a pretty decent day again, a decent session. For those of you just joining, I'm trying to play about an hour a day, just to show you that it doesn't take all your day to make money at this game. You know, most people I think can find an hour a day or an hour every couple of days to play. And obviously I've started from zero, so everyone can sign up to a new website. You know, I'm not expecting you to make 1,000. I'm not expecting people to have to invest hundreds of pounds. All you have to invest a little bit of time a day, and obviously signing up to a new website. So yeah, it's really simple, and hopefully from there, from making 1,000, you can then go on to make tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands. But everyone has to start somewhere. I think it's best to start from nothing, start from the bottom. You get the best understanding of the game. So yeah, limp attacks on here again, just going to raise to 160. Happy to raise with ace 4 suited here on the button. There's a lot of people, I think Jake Cody said he started with €10 free or £10 free at the time. When he started, and he's now making millions from the game. So it is possible. Okay, so he just sort of clicks 40, and that often shows a sign of weakness. So I'm going to raise it big. Just to try and put pressure on him. A lot of the time I will fold there, which is good. Take it down nice and easily. Okay, so this is quite a strange board. I'm just going to check the turn for safety. A lot of the time he'll only go further there if he's got me beat. C66, he kind of bets it out, so he could have me beat here, but I'm definitely calling. There's no chance of me raising really. Yeah, so that's the one hand that I think I've missed a bit of value from. I think a lot of other hands, the way I played it was perfect to play. that's the one hand which I could have maybe got another street of value from. Played King 10 a bit passively there, but that's okay. I've got a draw, a decent pair. Oh, sorry, I've got a straight. Sorry. I think I'm just going to call. I think if I raise, well, he's either got a bluff there like he did, or he's got the same hand, which would mean a raise would be. A raise wouldn't really do anything, or he's got the better end of the straight, and which I'm just throwing money in the pot, which I'm just going to lose. So I think call there was fine. So as you can see, I'm already doing quite well on this table. We're about 500 up. So I'm just going to bet this strong. Put someone who's sort of short stack in a bit of trouble because it almost gets into a shove or fold territory. So he really has to be confident in his hand to shove there. If someone goes from 4x, I've got 10-3, that's an easy fold. A middle pair, but it's just all been limped round. Not going to really get involved here. So we've got a flip here. I think MG toe takes it down. Well, nice land. So we're now four-handed, close to the money. Now gone into second place. So I'm just going to raise, put a bit of pressure on the guy. 2-7, it's fine. Four-handed, you know, in these sort of games where the blinds are a bit bigger and we're a bit shorter, we can raise a few more hands. Six-handed, when we're all deep, it doesn't really matter as much. But when we're shorter, we want to try and take as many pots down as well. Try and take pots down because there's a lot of dead money in the middle. And four-handed, obviously, is less likely that someone has a better hand because there's fewer people on the table. Okay, so as it goes, he limps. I raise with King 10. I'm just going to bet 440. Probably just get it in. He folds, which is fine. I think we played it fine. Ace Queen's just a standard raise from under the gun. Suited as well, which is nice. Get folded around. So I'm happy to just check Jack 6 here, I think. Seems like that person who likes to call and get involved, and I think Jack 6 is behind his range. I think probably just. Don't think a raise would be terrible there though either. 3-10, just not really that interested about. It doesn't flop very well, even when you get the flush. It's not likely to be it's not likely to be the best flush. So with these, you do want to be trying to accumulate chips and get yourself in a good position to play heads up and hopefully win the whole thing. But at the same time, you don't want to be getting into too many battles with people. Often people just gradually drift out, and as long as you're in and around with enough chips to play a good heads up game, that's usually the best way to do it. Rather than a lot of people go all out early on, try to double up and lose and end up getting into flips, which is just not a good thing at this. in these sit and goes. So about 20 big blinds deep, I'm just going to min raise that. Decent hand, can flop fairly well. I'm on the button. It's hard for him to just raise, or it's hard for him to raise really there, because raising's going all in. And when you're 20 big blinds deep, it's not the stage where people are going to just be shoving on you with a lot of hands. People are still quite cautious. So, he might call there, but then I'm in a decent position to take down a lot of flops. So as it happens, I've raised Jack King this time. Do get a call from the big blind. I'm just going to bet it out fairly standardly. Just look to get the money in, really. Not take any risks. I know this guy likes calling a lot, so I'm not going to bet massive. I think I can get him to call with a lot of hands which are almost dead. He does fold. It's fair enough. This guy raises 3x, and King 7's just not good enough to defend against especially against the first player who's got enough chips to cover me. 8-4 could be a raise if it's folded round, but against the big stack, who's going to call the wide range, probably easier to just fold. I'm just going to fold this. I think it's worth just taking the more passive route. 2-4 definitely could be raised. Again, I'm just trying to put pressure on this shorter stack because it's hard for him to raise here really, and it's quite easy for me to take down a lot of flops. Just going to bet 3/4, bet it strong. Do get a call there. I think he's going to call with a lot of 9s and 8s, so I'm just going to check. If he's got a draw, I'm going to be good a lot of the time. Now I'm putting him on, say, an 8 or a 9. And I think I can bluff him off a lot of rivers here. So I made the bluff. If he makes a call with a 9 or 8, then I've say well played to him. But 2 scary cards have come down. So yeah, I think it would be a good call for him to make the call, but I think it's a tough one. There's also other hands that he could have had there, like low pocket pairs that I can bluff him off. So I'm now going to first place, which is nice. Not going to defend King 6-9 suited, especially when we're not that deep. We're about 35 big blinds deep. 8-9. I've got a gut shot, so I'm just going to bet it quite big. Actually, there's 2 short stacks which I didn't really see. Again, that shows why you should really take time. I'm just wondering whether I've got the odds to go with this here. And he goes out on this table. So we're looking like we're in good shape. We hit a straight. I'm just going to bet this big. I think we unfortunately have to fold there. Now I've got the bottom end of the straight. He could easily have a better hand now. So I'm just going to check call it down. I don't really see the point in betting because I don't think we can get value out of worse. Okay, so and now we are heads up, so we've made the money, which is good. and we're just going to play this out quite aggressively. We're about 40 bigs deep, effectively. So I'm just going to start. I'm going to start by raising every button to see how he plays. A lot of players are really quite weak and they're not used to playing heads up. They're used to playing sort of 5-handed, 6-handed. So you can play a lot of hands and get them to fold because they're still sort of playing the 5-handed range when they shouldn't need to change the range. Okay, so we get a call with King 10, just going to bet it out. Got 2 overcards. It's a decent turn to try and barrel, but at the same time, I think a check's also fine. Yeah, so the check was decent, I think, on the turn, and didn't try and bluff. So I make a call with King Queen 6 suited. Decent flop for us. I make the call. And he's betting too big now for me to continue. I mean, I could raise the flop there and try and get it in, but again, we're just taking flips, which I think I can outplay most players heads up at this level, which is just, you know, the $1. So we've got a lot of players in here now. Just want to raise it up quite big. Hopefully it heads up. That's the guy with a decent hand. Okay, so maybe I went too big there, but I think it's better to go bigger than too small and get loads of players in the pot with aces. You don't really want a multi-way pot with aces. And defend with King 2. Hit a nice flop from my hand. I'm probably looking just to call this down. Hit the flush draw on the turn. So I'm just going to call this down. So yeah, I didn't want to raise. I could have just shoved in the turn there, but I think it's fine just to call. We hit the flush draw on the turn. And I'm going to call this. And we hit our hand on the river, which is nice. And again, another call. And we take it down. I was tempted to raise the turn because I was pretty sure he didn't have anything. But a call was fine there. Okay, so I'm just going to sit out on these cash tables now. Just so I can concentrate on the heads up match. We've made about, I think we've made about €5 profit from that, which is decent. So yeah, just want to try and take down this heads up. I think this is more important at the end stages. So at top pair now, I'm pretty happy with betting that hand. So again, you can see how not taking a flip with, well, what is probably a flip with the Queen 6 suited has now paid off because we're now in a dominating position to take down this system, go by outplaying the guy in spots where we sort of know we're ahead rather than guessing and just calling down there. No need to raise. So yeah, he hasn't really started playing back at us that too much for us to be worried about. So I can just keep raising really wide on the button. Probably should have bet that turn. Check was fine there. King 7 is good enough to defend. Definitely all in there. And I get lucky. And we take it down. I think I played that poorly, to be fair, at the end. That shouldn't have been an all-in with King 7, but I was kind of rushing it. So we win a couple of euros on top of the €3 we get, so we win €3 extra there. So again, another decent session. thanks for watching, as always. We're now closer to unlocking this free £10 ticket we got. We just need 271 more flops. Should be done fairly soon, and then we'd be on about €190. So that's very decent. So if you do want to sign up and join along with the challenge, click the link in the description. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.